Hey everyone, and welcome to Boss Advisory. Today I'm going to walk you through the process I use to find these kinds of investments today. I start by looking for asymmetrical bets, which are again bets with a little downside and enormous upsides. Searching for so-called contrarian narratives is basically a wager that has a good probability of producing very big rewards. Basically, contrarian narratives are accounts of the world that the vast majority of people are unaware of or do not accept. When searching for these unusual tales, I used two different resources. The first was the website realvision.com, which functions somewhat similar to Netflix but features interviews with some of the world's finest investors. That way, I learn about concepts that I would never have known about by viewing the dozens of videos that famous investors make each month discussing the storylines they're now examining. If only I'd stayed with the media outlets that were considered to be mainstream. For instance, I learned that there is a sizable market for the uranium needed to fuel nuclear power plants. I had no idea you could invest in that. Reddit, which is simply a collection of forums, is the second resource I consult. A wide range of opinions on the various storylines that exist in the world are provided by the several forums, sometimes referred to as subreddits, such as Wall Street, bets, investing, personal finance, and even cryptocurrency. It's still an excellent location to visit when looking for dissenting viewpoints, despite the fact that most of the people here are anonymous. Now, after finding an article that interests me, I see if it is well-liked. You see, a wager cannot be popular in order to be contrarian. Contrarian actually means the exact opposite of that. In order to determine how popular a specific phrase is globally, I use the free service Google Trends. All I have to do is enter the keyword I'm looking for and look it up. For instance, I choose to research the cryptocurrency Ethereum early last year, around the beginning of 2021. I went to Google Trends and put in Ethereum, and I noticed that the global search volume for it was only around 10%, what it had been during the famed 2017 bull run. This indicated that a significant portion of investors worldwide were not considering Ethereum as a financial investment in the early 20s. I do this for a straightforward reason. I don't want to wager on something that has already reached the height of its popularity because that indicates that a large portion of the gains have already been realized. As you can see, there was a potential that Ethereum would continue to rise if I had invested in it at $4,000 a few months prior, in the spring of 2021, when it was at its highest level of popularity. However, I would need to raise it all the way to $8,000 in order to double my money. Consider this in comparison to the summer of 2020, when Ethereum was only trading at about $200. Google Trends indicates that it was not at all well liked during that time. Therefore, all it needed to do to double my money was gain a little more popularity once more and hit $400. Ethereum gained far more traction than that, reaching a peak of $4,000. Despite the fact that I didn't timing the peak properly, I was still able to earn a respectable 15 times back on my initial investment. That is what I mean by extraordinary gains today. Nevertheless, just because something is contrarian or has a high potential of extraordinary gains does not imply that it is a wise investment. Before taking any wagers, I check to see whether there is sufficient information to read about my given narrative since I need to understand the dangers. And for this reason, I often don't wager a lot of money on minor coins. They make grand promises, but there is just insufficient knowledge to assess the hazards. Things with at least 20 hours of content to devour are what I prefer to choose. And it needs to be high quality stuff, not simply comments on some unrelated forum, but articles and videos from seasoned investors who I know and are capable of debating both sides. I want to read articles from knowledgeable people who don't believe the story will actually happen, and from those who believe it will happen that way. I can hear both of their point of views and make my own judgment about what I believe might occur. I frequently use Twitter, Medium, YouTube, Real Vision, and Reddit when hunting for material similar to this. I will now go down the rabbit hole and binge research as much information as I can on the topic once I identify a potential investment that fits all of these requirements and that also interests me. I spent more than 100 hours researching last year when I first dipped my toes into the world of cryptocurrencies by consuming dozens of audiobooks, videos, and articles. I now make sure to ask myself two questions while I perform my study. First, what needs to occur for this story to be true? Second, what needs to occur for this story to be shown to be false? I won't put a wager if I can't succinctly respond to each of these queries and engage in a discussion on both sides of the issue because that indicates that I don't fully comprehend the danger. Only once I have a thorough understanding of these two inquiries do I place my bet. Here are a few more things that I consider before doing this first. I always remind myself that nothing is 100%, not even close, and there is always, and I mean always, a risk that I will be mistaken. For this reason, I make sure I never ever gamble more than I can afford to lose. Even if my bet loses, I will consider that possibility and consider whether I would still be okay given the amount of money I had just lost. If not, I'm speculating too much. Would my way of life remain the same? The second thing I try to remember is to avoid wagering on the future, which is something I've lately discovered. You see, over the past 12 months, I've been playing with options in which I essentially wager on two outcomes: the direction that something will take and the time frame in which it would occur. The issue is that it is extremely difficult to predict. In a few cases, I was correct, although it took longer than I anticipated. Several of the stories I wagered on came true. And because of this, I lost an absurd amount of money. Had I only been more cautious and less greedy, I would have really made a lot more money had I just purchased and held assets or stocks as my lone wager on the direction. You need to be open to new ideas that people dismiss as crazy if you want to improve your thinking. As we are all looking for the best investment, here's one of the millennial ways you can try to work on that allows you to make profitable money online right from the comfort of your own home. And as a matter of fact, you can take it with you anywhere you go. If that interests you, make sure to click the first link down below to find out. Thank you guys for watching Boss Advisory. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up, and hit the bell so you get notified on every new incredible content we make for you. Have a wonderful day and see you on the next one.